Good evening and welcome to episode 103.
Great.
As always, we will start with our gratitude attitude. So, if you would please gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, relax your body. Take another deep breath. As you exhale, see all your stress melt away. Take one more deep breath. As you exhale, feel yourself completely relaxed. Now, think of one thing that you're thankful for that happened in the past week. Once you identified that, think about why you are thankful. And now let's set it free. If you're by yourself, say it out loud what you are thankful for and why. If you are with someone, tell it to each other. All right. So we talked about how it is best to try and develop compassion towards all living beings. So today we're going to start a two-part series on developing compassion. It's easy to develop compassion towards people in our immediate circle, right? Our friends, our family, etc. It's a lot harder to develop compassion towards someone we do not know, and harder still for someone in a faraway place. So it's like this, right? When we hear about a natural disaster half a world away, like there was earthquake in Turkey, for example, we feel bad for sure, but not enough to do something about it and help them. If it happens in our region, let's say, something happened in Texas or California or something big happened, right? We'll actually want to do something about it. Maybe we'll send some money or consumables, etc. If that happens in our neighborhood, We'll roll up our sleeves and help as many people as we can. So, how do we develop the same high level of compassion for all living beings? Before we develop compassion towards anyone, we first need to have love for them. If we have love for someone in our hearts, developing compassion towards them becomes very easy. So, how do we develop love towards some random person and even people who do not care for us? So, let's start with, first of all, types of love. There are three types of love: affectionate love, cherishing love, and wishing love. So, here's something interesting from a book, Universal Compassion. We can understand these by considering the following example. If a mother is reunited with one of her children after a long separation, she is very happy and feels great affection for her. This special feeling of affection is affectionate love. Out of affection, the mother considers her child to be very precious and wants to take special care of for her. She'll want to make some good food. She's home after a long time, do this for the kid, do that for the kid. This special feeling of caring is cherishing love. And because she has affectionate love and cherishing love for her child, if the child is unhappy, mom would immediately wish to restore her happiness. This wish for others to be happy and to help them to achieve happiness is wishing love. So let's break this down. In simplest terms, affectionate love is to like someone. If we are in a family and we have affection towards each other, life will be much smoother. Similarly, if we have affection towards our community, we'll try to make sure that everyone in our community is free from suffering. Someone's hurting, we'll try to help them. This affectionate love brings harmony and peace to the community. The easiest way to develop affectionate love is to think about how no one wants to suffer. We know that we don't want to have any suffering in our life, right? Similarly, no one wishes to suffer for themselves. Once we understand that all beings want to be free from suffering, we'll develop affectionate love towards them, a warm feeling in our heart towards them. It's difficult to practice this by trying to show affectionate love towards everyone at once. So we should try to do this by showing affectionate love towards a select few. That would be easier. Members of our families and friends. And then we expand that circle once you are comfortable. One thing I want you to note, though, is that we need to be very careful, because a lot of times what people call love is more like attachment. For these people, more the love increases, the more desirous attachment they develop. If the person they love even talks to someone, they get jealous or angry. That's not love. That is attachment. Real love does not make anybody angry. So, what is affectionate love? In the book How to Transform Your Life, Geshe Kelsang Getso outlines, when from the depths of our heart, without attachment, we feel very close warm, and happy towards someone, this is affectionate love. It makes our mind peaceful and balanced, free from anger and attachment. So it's also called equanimity. Developing equanimity is like plowing a field, like clearing our minds of the rocks and weeds of anger and attachment. That will make it possible for true love to grow. So, how do we learn to develop affectionate love? One way to develop this is to make an effort to be happy to see everyone. Whenever we see someone, we should be happy to meet them and try to generate a warm feeling towards them. If you're starting a meeting, for example, just before we get into the meeting room, we imagine all the people who are going to be in that meeting and try to generate a smile on our face. There are many benefits of meditating on affectionate love. Nagarjuna, a great Indian scholar, said that the biggest benefit of meditating on affectionate love for just one moment is that we accumulate greater merit than giving food 3 times to all the hungry people in this world. Think about it. How wonderful it is. So, with that in mind, let's meditate on affectionate love today. Meditating on equalizing self with others is one of the best ways to develop affectionate love. So, in our meditation today, we'll first settle down at our hearts as always, and then we'll contemplate how countless people are involved in our comfort. Somebody brings a milk to you, right? Somebody installs charger for your Tesla. Then we'll contemplate how they want to be happy as much as we do. And finally, we'll realize that there are so many, and I am just one. So we must equalize self with others. And then we'll hold that determination single pointedly. And of course, I'll walk you through this whole process. So if you're ready, let's get into our meditation posture or seated position. If you are in a chair, keep your legs on the ground, your back straight, spine upright, shoulders leveled. Gently close your eyes. Keep your mouth just a little bit open. That way, any stress you may have accumulated in your jaws will dissipate. Palms in your lap, right over left. Thumbs gently touching each other. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, see all your stress dripping away from your muscles. Take one more deep breath. As you exhale, feel yourself completely loose, like a rag doll. Now bring your attention to the sensation of your breath at your nostrils. Feel the cool air as you breathe in. Feel slightly warmer air as you breathe out. Keep your attention at your nostrils for about a minute or so on your own. Now bring your attention at your heart. Notice the peaceful nature of your root mind at your heart. Imagine everything that happened before this moment melts into light and disappears. Things that are yet to happen are not real anyway. So it is just this moment. Enjoy the peaceful nature of this moment. Let this peaceful moment bring the next peaceful moment. Remember, there is nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just enjoy. Now, let's think about countless people who tried and made our life comfortable this week. It could be a gardener, you filled up your gas tank, somebody had to bring that gas to the station. You picked up grocery, somebody brought that grocery to the supermarket. And think about just one single fruit. Take avocado, for example. A farmer in Mexico started planting avocado trees. Somebody had to pluck those avocados from the tree. Somebody had to wash them, sort them, label them, package them, transport them. If you look at one avocado to bring to your house, there must be at least 200 people who are involved in that process. Contemplate that and try to imagine as many people as you can who tried to make your life comfortable this week. Once you envision this vast field of people, acknowledge the fact that none of them want to suffer. Just like I don't want to suffer, they also don't want to suffer. Now, contemplate that I'm only one person and they are so many. So I must equalize self with other. Focus on that point single pointedly for a minute or so on your own. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Okay, any questions? No questions?
I think it's there are little difficult to grasp the unconditional love and affection or attachment to differentiate between the two.
Differentiate between attachment and affectionate love?
Yeah.
So, attachment is actually delusion in a sense that it's not really love, right? When you have attachment towards someone, we don't, we pretend like we love them, but we are not looking out for their best interest. It's more about us when there is an attachment.
I think it's comes out of the mutual need.
Personal need, right? It's
Yeah,
attachment is
personally, like
selfish.
either food or shelter or money or
Exactly.
taking
Personal.
care of each other or whatever you call it basically.
Exactly. Attachment is selfish, right? Love is
There
not
is some
selfish.
element of self.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And love is not selfish. So that's the biggest difference between affectionate love, and attachment.
But
When we
when
don't have attachment towards someone, right? uh, In that case, whatever they do, we are happy with it. In fact, I read a very interesting thing in the newspaper today. You know how people ask advice in newspaper?
yeah,
Uh, so I was reading Wall Street Journal, and this one guy asked an advice to Wall Street Journal people saying that, hey, my son's getting married, and in the past we helped support him in his 20s, not as much as he wanted, but now he's getting married. We're thinking of giving him $10,000 in gift, but we're not sure he's going to appreciate it. He probably wants more, this, that, the other thing. And this guy had a very interesting, he said, listen, by giving that 10,000, if you're expecting that your son will call you once a week, or he'll come home for dinner once a month or whatever, then don't give that 10,000 big, because that's bargain, right? That's not a gift at that point,
it's a battle.
right? It's
Yeah.
bartering, right? So that's where most people lose, you know, difference between attachment and love, because when there is this selfish need, and the purest love is mom to her kids, right? That's typically the purest love there is, because whatever the
I
kid does,
think that is true in the initial stage,
yeah,
but
after
as the child grows
grows,
older, I
yes,
think some sort of a selfishness comes
absolutely,
towards the physical need of food or protection or some sort of a special treatment or whatever you call it basically.
yes, and that's the challenge, is to keep that aside,
Yeah.
right? I read a very interesting point the other day. It's been a while, but it said something like, don't live your life through your kids, right? Don't extend, your aspirations over to them, right? Say, hey, I didn't do this in my life, so my kid maybe will do that, right? Because
No,
that's just challenging for the kid, right?
that's not going to happen. And
Yeah,
it's a pure selfishness,
exactly.
in my opinion.
So attachment is purely coming out of selfishness. Love, on the other hand, does not. So it's a very challenging thing to keep love without attachment. But that's the whole idea, is that if we can, right, that hey, I want this person happy regardless of what they do and do not do. That wish for them to be happy, regardless of what our expectation towards them may be, and we want them to do, we don't want to do, whatever it happens to be, we want them to be happy, right? That's wishing love. So
Anyway, it's a little tough to maintain that separation.
it, it is, but if we keep thinking about it, I think it's not that difficult. I had this discussion with Indian parents in the past, where I was at a party, we start talking, right, and people start getting drunk, and somebody will say, well, I want my son to marry a Gujarati girl only, right? I'll say, why, right? If your kid brings up, let's say, Punjabi girl home, and if he's happy, why would you not be happy for the kid, right? And then some people will say, well, you know what, I'm okay with as long as any Indian person. And then I'll say, okay, why not, Korean girl, as long as makes your son happy, why would you object to that, right? And then someone will say, well, I'm okay with anyone as long as is a girl. And I say, well, if your kid is happy with a boy, why would you object to that, right? I mean, if you take it to a logical conclusion,
I
then
think I do agree to some extent, Nirav, but then what happens that it is probably he's having a dual personality. He has something in his mind that he is ready to accept, but he's in the state of denial because of the peer pressure or fear of society.
and that's the thing, right? For fear of society, you want to sacrifice your relationship with your
I,
child.
I,
Doesn't make sense to
I,
me,
I do agree, but if you
right?
see in reality, that happens in so many families that
Yeah.
in terms of marriage or kid going to some school only and not to something else or doing
Exactly.
something.
Be engineer or doctor or whatever that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's what I'm saying.
So,
If the
so
kid's happy, right? If kid's happy, then we should be happy for them, and that's it.
uh, I think that that is in a way true, Nirav, but I think most of the time, or most of the people try to measure happiness with the physical status or the degree or the amount of money that you have, basically.
But see, that's not happiness at that point,
No,
right?
that's not happiness, but that's how the society measures, and that's how the people perceive that he has a big house, so he's a happy, or he has a four car,
Yeah,
he's
but what
happy.
goes
But
on
that is not the
inside
case.
that exactly, right?
That's
What
not the case.
happens to their mind? Forget
Yeah,
about what goes in the house, right?
yeah,
Inside, if they are anxious every minute of the day, right?
yes.
What does that car and four cars and a big house
It doesn't
happen,
help him, and that
right?
is where the dual personality comes into the picture.
Right,
That he has a separate image outside the home, and then he's a different person inside. As soon as we enter the house,
right,
he's a different person.
exactly. And if you're living with that duality, you
Yeah.
cannot be happy
No,
by definition, right? Because you're not true to yourself.
no, no. You are struggling between the two
Exactly.
alter ego.
Exactly, right. I mean, which way, when to turn off when, that's probably a full-time job itself. So,
Okay, Neera.
all right, we'll stop recording.